Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress of Comic News, episode 255. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my co-host, the Dark Knight himself. No, not Batman, it's Mike.
Bum, 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 bum. Listen, Michael Giacchino, man, if I knew I could be famous from playing four notes on a piano, hell yeah, I would have composed Jurassic Park as well. Well, I don't know. Jurassic Park might be a few more than four notes on the piano, but he did a stellar job. We're gonna talk about Batman today, but he did a stellar job with that score.
The score was phenomenal in that.
Yeah. So we are going to talk about Batman today before the interview. We do have an interview today. Chris has checked the book out called The Recount.
Yeah, so Jonathan Hedrick.
Jonathan Hedrick, very cool book. I haven't had the time to read it, but Chris has, so stick around for that interview. Since it's a jam-packed show, we might as well just get right into it because I feel like we're going to talk about Batman for a little bit.
Yes.
It's a 3-hour movie, so let's it's going to be 3 hours. No, I'm just kidding. But there's a lot to talk about, a lot to dissect, and a lot of Easter eggs. So if you're looking to skip over that, you probably just want to go straight to the interview. I don't know. We'll just skip some minutes, but if not, if you haven't seen it yet, what the hell are you doing? TV news. Netflix is set to adapt another DC Vertigo comic series to the streaming service. The comic question is an 8-issue series called Bodies by Cy Spencer. So, never heard of it. I never read it. Have you read that?
I haven't, but reading the synopsis of it sounds like it'd be up my alley.
What's it up?
It's like old-timey England. It kind of reminds me of like a Jack the Ripper kind of thing. Basically, bodies come up, they have to solve a crime. So,
yep. Mm-hmm. Classic stuff.
Yeah. So I might actually check out the comic now, just off of this news. But yeah, good for Cy.
Nice. So this is a cool surprise before the Batman movie. We got the Super Pets trailer, and we got the sizzle reel, the DC Heroes sizzle reel, which is pretty hype.
Did you get those?
Yeah, I got the sizzle reel and the Super Pets. It was only DC because I went Wednesday night at 7, so they had a countdown. But then I was kind of pissed because the movie is supposed to start at 7. The countdown went to like 7:15, and then we had 2 trailers, so it didn't start till 7:30. We didn't get out of the theater till like 10:45.
Interesting, because all of my trailers, not a single one was comic book or DC related.
Really? It was all Batman's, and then I was upset because Regal's people were getting exclusive free comic books with the Batman movie covers of like the Long Halloween issue 1 and stuff like that. I didn't get any of that. Where the hell is that happening? It must have been like the Tuesday night instead of, because there was one Tuesday night showing before the Wednesday.
You went to Regal?
Yeah, I went to Regal.
Okay, so you can see over here, if you're watching the video, that's my popcorn bucket.
Yep, they always have the awesome stuff.
And I sent you this privately, but I also got this cup, it's so dope.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
It's like 3D too. This is all like carved out.
Regal always does crazy stuff like that. They did a great job with the Star Wars cups. I remember when Force Awakens came out, they had some cool stuff.
Yeah, until they were busted, I actually had the lightsaber cups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are always awesome.
I didn't actually get those at Regal. I got those at a local theater.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. So movie news, the DC Super Pets trailer's out. It is absolutely phenomenal. Keanu Reeves voicing Batman fits very, like, it's... you can almost tell it's Keanu Reeves. You can't tell it's him right away, but I think he does a great job with Batman. I think it's a nice fit.
When I read the story, I was like, okay, because he'll show up 2 scenes and whatever.
Right.
Then I saw the trailer and I was like, I didn't know I wanted this.
Yeah, this is just so Batman. And Kevin Hart as the Bat Dog is good, and The Rock as Krypto. I think all the voice castings are really good here, and I can't wait to watch the movie. I'm super excited for it.
I'm so excited for this movie.
It was the same people that were doing the Lego movie working on it, right? Was that what we knew?
believe
writing it or
so.
something? Because that's like it's got like the same tone and lightheartedness, but I'm very excited for it.
I like the in jokes too. There was a lot of like Batman in jokes. Like there was one. My favorite one was like I work alone.
Yeah,
Except with Robin.
except with Robin,
Alfred,
and Alfred,
and my IT room.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that, and I think with that we could jump into the Batman review. So try to fast forward to the interview if you don't want to hear it. But
yeah, full spoilers on the Batman, or Sparkly Batman as I've been calling him.
Yep. Okay, so right off the bat, we said the score is amazing. I think we could say sweeping declaration. We both agree on this because I know you might have a different opinion on the movie than me, but the score was amazing and everybody's acting was on point.
Every single actor in their role was awesome.
Yeah.
Pattinson was better than I thought he would be. Yep. I loved the Penguin in this.
Dude, I could watch, and that's why they're giving him a whole show. He was like, hey, forget about it. I could have watched that for 20 minutes. You know?
And Dano's Riddler was just so fucking good.
Yep.
Yeah. The acting was phenomenal.
The movie gets a 0 out of 10 for me. Just kidding. But Paul Dano doesn't get the shit beat out of him in this movie, which is like he gets. And if you watch every Paul Dano movie, like Prisoners, he gets the shit beat out of him. There Will Be Blood. He gets the shit beat out of him. I think he gets. I don't know if he gets killed after he gets the shit beat out of him. It's like every movie he's in. That's like his signature role. Plays a creepy dude that gets the shit beat out of him. And lo and behold, he's in a Batman movie and he doesn't get the shit beat out of him. I was not expecting that. But yeah, he was entirely creepy. The whole approach to him being like Jigsaw from Saw, I thought was a cool twist. Made it more realistic.
Yeah,
he's.
I think he came out and said it too. He's based after the Zodiac Killer, so it fits, and it takes the whole Riddler gimmick and makes it better. Like this is. You know how, like, after the animated series, like, Mr. Freeze was a joke before then, and then Heart of Ice came out, we're all like, oh, shit, Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, Mr. Freeze is awesome, yeah.
I kind of feel that way about Riddler right now. Like, I like this version of Riddler better than the one I've gotten in the past.
Yep. No, I agree. I think and you have to play on there's a lot of, so the movie's 3 hours, and normally, like, I'm going to say if you feel the 3 hours, not for me. I mean, it could be in a bad way or not, but this could have been 2 movies for sure. We're going to say that. Should it have been 2 movies? I don't know. But almost every scene feels so heavy with the dialogue and the action is so intense. Like nobody made a peep in the entire, like going from Spider-Man in a theater opening night to this movie in a theater opening night was like, it was like night and day of like people cheering to this one was like people were just like, you know, completely silent, maybe like a holy shit every once in a while, like a holy fuck. But the weight of like, and they play on that's what I'm getting into, the whole, like Riddler was like a child abuse and like came from a terrible upbringing, like has all these has a lot of mental illness. And you see that in him, like the Bruce, like I wasn't so sold on him, but then the Bruce Wayne scene, I'm like, oh my God, I can't even look at this guy. He's so creepy. So these are just the overall arc. We're not going to break down like every scene yet, but I want to say like the 3 hours, it definitely could have been 2 movies. I don't know how you felt about that, but
this is, you didn't say it here, but I know you said it on Twitter, and this is kind of where we differ. I agree. So the 3 hours, it feels like 3 hours, and to me that was a little bit of a negative. I would have, and I know people, I like the character, I like the actress. I thought everything with Catwoman in it could have been cut. We did not need her in this movie.
Yeah, and, I mean the movie would have worked without her for sure. Yeah. But it doesn't mean she was bad though.
That's a disservice to the character and the actress more than me like ragging on. But I felt like you could have cut a good amount of time there and still, because the only major scene where she's needed was when she goes down into the club.
Mm-hmm.
And and we find out that, you know, there's this deep-seated corruption inside of Gotham, shocking everybody.
Yeah, right.
And she's kind of the one that finds it. You could have done that without her, I personally believe, and I just felt like all the scenes with her in it, her kind of B plot took away from the A plot, which is probably my biggest negative of the whole movie, and it's not enough for me to hate it.
Yeah.
So
I will say the chemistry between Zoe Kravitz and Robert Pattinson, I think, is the most believable and realistic chemistry between any Batman and Catwoman on screen. I think, like, yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer was hot, but like I didn't get the whole, like, the chemistry didn't seem natural, and like the Anne Hathaway and in the Batman, the last Batman movie. So I thought that was great. I mean, she was kind of there too. Like their relationship really drove home the like, I mean, number one, she's self-sufficient, so she drives off to go get her own TV show or whatever, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But he really, like, a lot of their interactions were killing is bad, and that was one thing I loved about this Batman. He doesn't kill. And we didn't talk about this right out the gate. So, like, the first 15 minutes, that was the best intro of any Batman movie I've ever seen. The whole like intro and monologue of, like, the signals of warning, and like the idea of Batman could be lurking in the shadows. That like cinematography, like the criminals looking in the shadows and like thinking Batman is there, and then like he shows up in that one scene. That was kind of terrifying. Like, just the presence, like, that he might be there, was pretty awesome.
So my one last trash on Catwoman real quick.
Yeah.
It would have been nice if they put like maybe 2 seconds of thought into her costume, because it was awful.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Yeah, the half ski mask is kind of bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that monologue because it reminds me of one of my favorite Batman things, which was a animated movie. Actually, it was an animated anthology they did called Gotham Knights.
Yep.
I believe, yeah. And there's one in there where it's the idea of Batman is like a myth. He's a legend. And that's exactly what that monologue was. It's like, Batman doesn't have to be anywhere, but the fact that people have this overblown idea of who the Batman is worse than what the Batman actually is, and can deter crime.
Yep.
I love that whole sequence too. It was phenomenal.
Matt Reeves. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So Matt Reeves is very self-aware of the audience too. The things he baits us with, like, they talk about Batman's parents dying, and they say, well, it was Carmen Falcone. And then the whole conversation with Alfred was like, no, it could have been some lonely street thug. We don't know for sure. And Matt Reeves, like, makes you think, oh shit, Carmen Falcone, killed him. He's trying to relate the two. And then he goes back on it and says, no, just kidding. I'm not going to do that to you guys. Like, I was like, you son of a bitch. Like, he did that with a lot of stuff. And I've noticed, I will say this, he wins me over because I noticed 3 66 Batman references in this movie.
I saw the Shakespeare head.
The Shakespeare head. There's an Aunt Harriet.
Yes.
Working at Wayne Manor.
Yes.
And the running down the side of the building.
Oh yeah.
Is a like it was kind of comical to watch. It was like, oh, this is awesome. But then when they tilted the camera to the side, I was like, this is 60s Batman, just going the opposite direction.
Speaking of comical, I want to talk about one more scene that bugged me because it didn't need to be there, and I don't understand its purpose other than to like kind of drill home that he's still kind of new. Because I know this has been described as like year 2 Batman, so like Batman's been around, but he's still whatever. When he's flying down and he hits under the bridge and then tumbles and dies in that moment because no human would have lived through that.
Yeah.
Why was that there? What was the purpose of that scene? Because he literally just gets back up and is like, shake it off.
Yeah.
All right, go after Penguin.
to me, so like that part for me was like, this movie was so realistic up into that point. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, like everything was kind of like set in a real like realism, and that kind of made me think like he could like Batman. Okay, that was a lot of comic book science there. Like Matt Reeves put that in there to be like, see, he gets up and walks away. Like this is comic book science. Like we're not all noir Batman. I will say, I think that was like we got to see so many gadgets, and like that was one thing Matt Reeves highlights in every fight is like, oh, he's got a gadget. Oh, his breastplate actually comes off. That was almost like that batarang was reminded me of the '60s Batman batarang. That thing was huge. I love that he doesn't walk around with little batarangs in the shape of bats. He just has like the one symbol on his chest. So the one thing that bothered me, and like actually Matt Reeves has come out and done interviews. So there's a conversation at the end where we have the Joker and Riddler in a cell.
Mm-hmm.
And what Matt Reeves said is that got taken out of context. The original scene, did you see this interview yesterday?
I might have. I've read a few interviews with him.
Yeah, so he released the dialogue. Originally, what was going to happen was Batman was going to have a conversation with Joker, who's already in Arkham, and the story would have been that his first year, his year one, would have been battling with Joker, putting him in jail, and then he comes back, revisits him, has a conversation, and says, like, this guy, like, asks him for insights into this new guy, and it was never supposed to be set up as, like, this might be a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
So he said they took that out of context, like, putting it at the end and almost, like, teasing people, because the after credits scene has to do with Hush. And there was a couple Hush references. So who knows where we're going to go from here. And I think Matt Reeves doesn't even know either, but
I think he does. And I would like to talk sequel at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did think I liked his explanation I saw where he's like, it's not supposed to be a tease for the next movie, but more of a realization that this isn't year one Batman. This is like year two Batman. He's been around for a bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I did like that. At the same time, there was two things walking in this movie that was like, I'm gonna dock points for if I see. And one was Joker. But the way they did the Joker, I wasn't upset with. In the moment I was, because I'm like, oh cool, Dark Knight 2, Electric Boogaloo, we're gonna do this again. But but after reading that, I'm like, okay, that's a cool scene. They should have done more to kind of explain it in movie.
Right.
The other thing I would have taken points off for that wasn't in the movie per se, even though they did connect a lot back to Thomas Wayne, which I'll go back to when we talk sequel stuff, was at no point did I see Pearl Necklace fly in the air, Crime Alley, the origin of Batman, and thank Christ that somebody finally did it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. That's it. I knew you were going to be so excited for that.
I was so happy. And even trying to tie it back to Thomas and everything, I was fine with, because
I thought that was interesting. And so the interesting thing about this movie was a crime noir movie. And it's not about Batman like figuring himself out like year two, like, yeah, he could fight people, he's got gadgets, whatever. It's about Batman realizing he could probably do a lot more as Bruce Wayne, and he needs to step it up as Bruce Wayne, and then like develop Batman from there. Because I love the idea, like, he's tired all the time, you know, he sleeps all day, like that. Like, he didn't look good in any scene. Like, he looked exhausted, you know, he looked disheveled. I thought that was interesting. A lot of the things we talked about, like, we've broken down the character of Batman before, they really approached in this movie. And I really like that. The fighting, I mean, he wasn't perfect with the fighting. He still got like kicked here and shot there. The amount of times I thought that like getting shot and then hitting himself with the adrenaline was pretty sick. Yeah, I mean, the fight scenes were great. What else?
Quick PSA to anybody that really liked this movie too. I raved about it last year, but Batman the Imposter, that was written by the guy who wrote this movie. And although he takes it a step further in the realism sense, like, if you like this movie, go read that book, because that book was just phenomenal. Yeah, that book was just phenomenal. So
yeah,
I just want to say, go read that.
I felt the same tone as well with that book and the movie. I mean, there's so much that happens. I I did cry in the movie. I shed some tears. There was an amazing conversation between Alfred and Bruce in the hospital, and that was pretty like gut wrenching. Of like, he actually says like I should have beaten the fear, but like he was actually scared when he thought Alfred was going to die. That was pretty intense. The whole scene where Alfred like opens the thing. You think so? Like most of the movie, you think that the Riddler knows who Bruce Wayne is, and then at the end, he like Matt Reeves really teases you with the like, "Oh, we almost got him" kind of thing. And then he didn't. One thing I want to point out: the reporter that Thomas Wayne supposedly had killed, his last name was Elliot.
Yep.
As in Thomas Elliot, like Hush. I thought, they really like the scenes where Batman is at a crime scene with the cops. Those scenes are so good, and they kind of like play on the absurdity of it, like where they're like, boss, he's touching the evidence, and he's like, oh, well, he's wearing gloves, I like just the fact that like there's cops and like, everybody's kind of freaked out by him. Just like the forensic guy's like staring at him. He's like walking into the crime scene. I thought all of that was really interesting.
Well, this is the first time in live action that we've really seen Batman be a detective.
Mm-hmm.
Like he actually has full blown scenes where he's going through things, and like even having like the contact lens that records everything he's doing, so he can go back.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool.
Was just a genius addition.
Mm-hmm.
And those scenes, were just phenomenal. And I'm always going to go back to this because it's my first Batman, but it just took me back to watching the animated series as a kid, like seeing Bruce, Batman, and Commissioner Gordon just in the same spot, and like him flaking on Gordon at the bat light, like the bat signal and all that stuff. Like whoever, I don't want to give Reeves all the credit because there's so many people go into it, but the people making this understood why we love the MCU, which is keep it grounded in the reality of the comics, but do your own thing and reference like crazy. We got Bloodhaven in this.
Yep.
The bat signal and so many references outside to, like you said, Thomas Elliot, 66, all these things.
I would even say the Court of Owls, because they got into the history of Gotham, right? So it almost like teases Court of Owls to come out somewhere, because never have we had someone talk about the lineage of the Arkhams and the Waynes.
Oh,
and,
that too.
Build the lore with like he talked about the Arkhams and the Waynes. Like nobody's ever touched that. Like Bruce Wayne is something rooted in Gotham. Also, I want to say the best depiction of Gotham in any Batman movie. I think something about the city seemed different than all the others.
That was another thing I walked away feeling was, you're more well versed in travel than I am, but I can't pin the city on one city.
Yeah, there's a lot of mixes.
Yeah, like I can pin Nolan's on Pittsburgh. Yep. I can pin Burton's on New York City. This one, like, it had a little bit of New York City.
Yep.
I mean, it was definitely kind of based on New York City, but it had a little bit of that with a little bit of Chicago in it.
A lot of water, surrounded by water, like on all sides.
Yeah, it felt like its own city. It felt like it felt like a living, breathing city that doesn't exist, which I loved. Because even like when they went to the Times Square area, like it's not exactly like Times Square. It's different enough. So, yeah, there's so much good in this movie. I was very, very happy with it.
I will say the 3 hours was tough because I'm just not comfortable in any type of theater seat for 3 hours. We didn't have the recliner seats around here. So I was just mostly uncomfortable. I can't wait to like lay on my couch and rewatch this movie. You know what I mean? Like full blown relaxation. I know I'm in a comfortable position. I can pause it when I want. Because I will be rewatching this movie quite a few times and picking apart.
I do want to shout out Alfred too, because especially in the first half of the movie, Alfred plays a more of a role than I think he's ever played in any of the movies, because he's actually helping solve the riddles and like helping with the So Riddler puts together those notes with the little secret language in it.
Yeah, the cipher. Yep.
And he goes through and actually solves a couple of them, or helps solve a couple of them at least. Like, I love that addition too. Just the fact that Alfred's not just the butler who gives him his suit and his soup. Like,
yeah, right. And he mentions in the movie, he said, I should have better prepared you. All I did was train you to fight.
Yeah.
So like the fighting started with Alfred. So, I mean, and he's got his cane too. So this is like the war vet. Yeah. Pretty young, I would say fairly young compared to other Alfreds, but I think that, and here's another thing: the villain didn't fail. Like Riddler's plan didn't fail. He got what he wanted. He ultimately wanted to kill Falcone. He wanted to like rebuild the city. He just thought the only part he failed in was he thought Batman, like that's the turning point in the movie where you see him speaking to Batman. You're like, he must be this smart. Like it wasn't like him not understanding that Batman is Bruce Wayne wasn't like, it wasn't down to his smarts. It was down to his like disassociation from reality. You know what I mean? Like he thinks that Batman's his buddy, like playing with him. And that's where you get to the point where like, wow, he's not that, he is brilliant. He's just a freaking psychopath. Like
the only thing he failed in was getting quote unquote justice on the Waynes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I mean, so ultimately Batman beats him, but I can't wait for the next movie where we have all the known people established, like Commissioner Gordon. Now he's going to be commissioner. You have people planted throughout the city, Penguin's rise to power. I'm sure that's what his TV show is going to be about. What about the little joke where, what about Good Cop and Batshit Cop? That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
That was a good joke. What about the thumb drive joke?
There
were some good messed up like Zodiac killer level jokes.
Like the thumb drive joke made me laugh. I think I was the only one in the theater laughing because it's so dark.
It's so dark and stupid.
Yeah, but I loved it. It was
man. What about the Penguin when he's like shackled by his feet and he starts wobbling away? That was pretty great. I like that the Penguin was like, he was a kingpin or whatever, but he also was like a piece of shit, like always conniving behind other people's backs.
I never liked DeVito Penguin, where he's like kind of a mutant.
Yeah.
And he's like half penguin, half man. Like,
yeah, right.
I always liked Gangster Penguin, owns the Iceberg Lounge.
Yeah,
is kind of is a Wilson Fisk-esque character, like kind of pulling the strings and hiring people. That's always been my favorite version of Penguin. So for them to do it, and once again, like one of the most underrated actors of our time, Colin Farrell.
Yeah, this guy's insane. Yeah,
never thought I would say that after watching his terrible Irish accent in Daredevil, but
yeah, he is Irish.
I understand, but it's still a terrible Irish accent. I grew up with a father. Trust me, it's terrible.
Yeah. You don't want an Irish bullseye, is what you're saying.
I never really thought I said that, but that dude's kind of found his stride, and he's got that Carl Urban quality now, where like if you didn't know that was Colin Farrell, you wouldn't think it was Colin Farrell,
right?
And Carl Urban's always had the ability to like, when he plays Dredd, he puts the mask on, he doesn't take it off.
Right.
And stuff like that. So I just wanted to say, like, the dude's just turned his entire career around. And this movie in particular, this role proves like how great he is.
If you're loving some Colin Farrell, watch his season of True Detective. It is probably one of his best performances, especially in a crime show. But I have something for you, because I know at first you weren't too hot on the Batmobile, but I will say the reveal for the scene where they revealed the Batmobile, like where the theater was shaking and he was like revving up his jet engine. I thought that was a like everybody was like super hyped up in the movie during that. How did you feel any different about it after seeing it?
I'll say the two things I was iffy about going into it, the suit and the Batmobile, I came out liking.
Okay. Yep.
Not gonna crack my top 5 or anything like that.
The suit was better than I thought it would be.
The suit was much better than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
My only nitpick with the suit was just let him glide on his cape, like the squirrel suit thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he went too far there, but other than that, I like the suit, and the Batmobile was fine. It was actually kind of badass at points, especially like we saw that scene a million times going into this movie, but when he comes out of the flames and rams into Penguin, although I'll tell you this, when that scene happened, I started bursting laughing because Penguin's car flips over like a billion times. He's dead. Yeah. And but he's not. And Batman just walks up to it and kind of like turns his head and looks into the window, and they hold on it like a second too long.
Yeah.
And in my head, I just looked over at my buddy and I just said, peekaboo. Because in my head, that's all Batman was doing in that moment.
Yeah.
So like there was a few little nitpicky things. I'm like, you held that hair too long or something like that. But
him like holding
that scene was so badass.
Yeah. That whole car chase was so intense, of like weaving in and out of traffic, and I mean, I thought, I mean, the Batman, like him as Batman was fantastic. I love the not killing several times brought up. That's the one thing he'll do, is he won't kill. Going back to the old orphanage and finding like the druggies there and stuff, like he really needs to rebuild the Wayne. Like I want to see him. We didn't really see him as Bruce Wayne yet. I mean, we saw him as like the tired Bruce Wayne, but I think the next movie I'm more excited to see like philanthropist Bruce Wayne doing good for the city, trying to help out with stuff. But I think overall I was very pleased with it. I mean, we could sit here and talk about it, but I think the main points we've kind of got. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman was awesome. Falcone was great. Penguin is supposedly getting his own TV show, so more of that.
Yeah, and I know there's things I'm forgetting about that I loved about
it. Oh yeah. Just little nods here and there. I thought the the Riddler scene where he's doing the video blog was kind of hilarious. Like, smash that subscribe button, guys. And that's where he's getting all his info for like the idea that he was a tax not a fraud, financial, whatever. He was like a financial advisor that finds out that the money from the Wayne Foundation is funding all of the crooked shit that's going out of the city. And then he like snaps. I thought that was pretty crazy.
Did you see one of his false identities too?
No.
So when they arrest him, they ask him who he really is, and they pull out like a bunch of license plates. Yeah. One of them was Edward Nygma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which made me happy. I'm like, at least reference it.
Yeah,
like,
at least reference his actual name. Yeah. The conversation with him and Batman was pretty wild, and like the intensity of like, you know, Batman's like, oh shit, he's gonna out me. Like, I'm not gonna be Batman anymore. Matt Reeves really teases you with that. Yeah, I think overall the scene where he's running from all the cops in the police station. I love the scene of him and Commissioner Gordon like talking to each other. He's like, "You need to punch me in the face."
You could have pulled your punch, you know.
Yeah,
he's like, that was me pulling my punch.
Yeah, I did pull my punch. How about Commissioner Gordon, man? Fantastic job. I don't have the actor's name right now, but I mean he's great in everything he does. But I thought he was really good. I also like this. This was something that was really nice. So they're coming to get Carmen Falcone. They're going to arrest him, and he gets greeted by like 100 police officers. And Commissioner Gordon's he's like, I own all the cops, and then Commissioner Gordon goes, not all of them. I was like, thank God, because every story is like you have a police department with like, I don't know, hundreds of cops for the city, and all of them are corrupt except for Bullock and Commissioner Gordon. Every Batman story. So, like, to at least have a handful of cops to do an arrest to say not all of them are corrupt. That was nice to see.
Which is great, too, because that's kind of what Commissioner Gordon did. He took the corrupt police department and at least attempted to clean it up.
Yeah, right. So that, yeah.
Real quick, movie trailers before the movie. So I did not get a single comic book related thing before the movie. But I did get a few. I did get at least one gem, and then one that I want to just discuss with you because I think it's hilarious.
Oh, the Nicolas Cage one. Yeah, I've seen
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yep, this movie looks amazing.
Front runner for movie of the year.
Yep.
Nicolas Cage plays himself as an actor who needs money and goes to this like random island with a rich dude.
Yep.
Gets paid all this money. And it ends up the rich dude is like some crime lord or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Looks phenomenal.
Looks amazing.
Now, there's another movie that I saw. And I'm going to describe it. I'm going to leave out one important detail. Because I think up to that one important detail, you will be all into this movie.
Yep.
It stars Daniel Radcliffe as a corrupt businessman who wants to find gold on a deserted island. He kidnaps an author who writes all of their books about this exact thing. So Daniel Radcliffe's character figures I'll take them and they'll help me.
Yeah.
And they get what's his name? 21 Jump Street.
Oh, Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum has to go to the island to save this person.
Okay.
As the action hero. And he's actually kind of a dimwit, and he's trying to prove himself. And that's when Brad Pitt shows up and saves them instead, because Brad Pitt is like a dog the bounty hunter type.
Okay.
Everything about this movie sounds kind of cool, right? Like kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The author is played by Julia Roberts.
Oh.
And this is a rom-com where Julia Roberts and Channing Tatum fall in love.
Oh, no. Why'd you do that to me?
We're watching this. I can't remember the name of the movie because I don't care. We're watching this trailer, and I'm just like, who the fuck is this for?
Yeah, like, who? Like, I was excited about the action parts, but now the rom-com parts.
Because at the beginning, when it's like Julia Roberts and Channing Tatum, I'm like, okay, my mom's going to love this.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, Daniel Radcliffe shows up being all crazy and shooting guns, and I'm like, what the fuck?
What is going on? That's amazing. I will say, have you seen the trailer for Bullet Train?
No.
With Brad Pitt?
No.
So basically, Brad Pitt, there's a couple other famous actors. They're all assassins, and they end up on the same bullet train in Japan together, and they're just fighting each other on the train.
There's another... go ahead.
It's like Kill Bill style, like, humor.
Interesting.
And it looks wacky, yeah.
There's another movie that I couldn't tell if I wanted to see it or not, but it was about this. It looked like majority of the cast was Asian, so I don't know if it was a movie made in an Asian country.
Is it about zombies on a train?
No.
Okay.
But this Asian woman is like the center of the multiverse.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see that. What's her name? It's the Crane mother from Iron Fist.
Yeah, that was my thing. I was like, I'm watching this. I'm like, these are all people from kung fu movies because between you and some of my other friends who like that stuff, I gather some information about it.
Yeah,
and I'm watching this trailer. I'm like, I can't tell if I want to see this or not, but it looks interesting.
Right. Oh yeah, it looks awesome. I hope it's good. She looks great in it, and it's like a multiverse kung fu movie. Sign me up, dude. I've been waiting for that.
Yeah, but she's just like a regular, like, woman who's I was taking she was a grandmother because she was a little too old to be.
Yep. But she could be an action hero. Why not?
Oh yeah. That's,
hell yeah.
Just setting the stage, like she's just a regular person allegedly. Yep. So let's talk sequel.
Yeah, sequel of Batman.
Let's start with what do you want?
I want either Hush or I want Mr. Freeze, and I think they've talked about Mr. Freeze.
Okay.
That's what I want. Or Court of Owls. I think any one of those three I'd be happy with.
I mean, I want Clayface, but I'll never get it.
Yeah, true.
Especially in this universe. So now your wants are what I think we're gonna get. So what do you think we're gonna get?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I really hope we don't get Joker. Like, I don't want. All I want. Honestly, I'd be happy with anyone but Joker. And that is the god honest truth. Like, even if they brought Riddler back and added another villain, I just hope I think we're gonna get, from what we've seen, I think we're gonna get Hush. But I think over Hush, I would prefer Mr. Freeze in some capacity.
It'd be interesting. I think we're gonna get Hush with a splash of Court of Owls.
That'd be cool.
I think they're gonna try to connect, because making Thomas this kind of corrupt figure, and the Arkham family and all that being in it as well, connects into what Court of Owls was.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also connects into what Hush was. And we teased Hush a little too much for me to be like, you're definitely doing Hush.
Right.
So I do think that they're going to kind of mix those two stories together to be the next movie.
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense to me. Yeah. Maybe save Mr. Freeze for the third one. I just want to see live action Mr. Freeze. That's not a joke.
We're talking about Arnold was amazing.
All right. Fair enough. But yeah.
Chill.
Everybody freeze. Everybody chill out, whatever. Okay, now let's everybody jump to this awesome interview with Mr. Jonathan Hedrick, and we'll see everybody on the other side.
And we're back.
We're back. So check all the cool stuff he's doing. He's an awesome dude. Support him. And yeah, I look forward to some more stuff. I just haven't had time to read it, but I will. I'm going to download the Recount tonight.
The Recount's going to make a dope movie.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, couldn't happen to a better dude. He's awesome. So, and he's friends with Travis, friends with us. So, friends by association.
He's now in the family.
Travis, I will say this about Travis. I did read Granite State Punk. We're not talking about the comics we read yet. I fucking loved it. And I tweeted about it. And Travis said, that means a lot coming from you, man. And I was like, damn, that guy... Even whether he means it or not, that makes it, he knows how to make a dude feel good.
So I didn't talk about it at the time. I promoted it because Travis is a friend and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But normally I pitch for all of his books. I get all of his physical stuff.
Yeah.
And when he announced Granite State Punk, and he announced a punk rock book with anarchism, New Hampshire, and black magic, I was like, I'm all in on this premise, Travis.
Right.
And I went for the total package. I went for all the covers. It was like $120 package.
Nice, dude. Nice. Yeah.
So it's going to be my first metal cover as well.
Oh, sick. I almost got that one. I love the cover with the granite. I mean, right now I just have to do digital just because I'm buying so much stuff on Kickstarter. I don't want the reason I don't read a Kickstarter project is just because I'm like worried about my room on my bookshelf or something. So I just go strictly digital, and I feel like I get to read more stuff that way. So,
yeah, I've been moving that way too, but for certain people, I still get all the physical, and Travis will be one of them.
Yep. Yeah. I think I have to too. His next anthology, I'm going to go all out. I can't wait for another Cthulhu anthology.
Yeah.
Anyways,
speaking of Cthulhu anthologies, stay tuned next week for a different Cthulhu anthology on this show.
Ooh. Okay, comic news. Not to be outdone by DC, Marvel has announced the newest mech-inspired Avengers comic. They're just going back and forth now. The series is called Mech Strike Monster Hunters and will have 5 issues by writer Christos Gage and artist Paco Diaz. Yeah, so they're like, we could do it again.
But this time we got monsters, guys.
Yeah, monsters, which is literally the Bad Idea comic, Monster Kill Squad.
Yeah, which I think was written by Christos Gage.
Yeah, we're coming full circle.
Hold up.
We're looking at this up right. Monster Kill Squad comic. Yep, from Bad Idea.
Bad Idea Comics, right?
Christos Gage, yeah.
Was it really?
Wait a second. That is the funniest shit I've ever seen.
We got our eyes on you, Christos.
Yeah, Yeah, that is so funny. I love it. I love Marvel right now that they were like, dude, this book's awesome. Why doesn't he just write a mech monster book for us?
Just switch all the government rednecks and put the Avengers there.
Yeah.
Black Panther can fight Dracula. Whatever monsters they're going to put in this book.
Dude, that's so funny because they know bad ideas done for the years, so they're like, whatever, we'll just make money off them now. That's so funny. I'm
Chris
gonna
is a
have
good
to
writer,
read this.
though.
Oh yeah, and I'm definitely reading this book.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
I still got to read Tekon.
Yeah,
I know you really enjoyed Tekon, but
yeah, yep. The Tekon was the Iron Man suit one.
It was like the Gundam-ish one.
Yeah.
But Mech Strike just hit me in all the right places. So when they announced Tekon, I'm like, I'm down for this, but give me some room. Let me digest Mech Strike a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. Tom Taylor took to Twitter to announce his new DC Comics series coming this summer. He's going to be doing DCeased 3 instead. It's the final chapter to the DC saga. I do need to catch up. I'm going to reread through all of that stuff and be ready.
I just need to finish. Remember the digital only one they did? I can't remember what it's called. I need to finish that. I fell off of that.
That's the one I read that you didn't read.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But the other volumes of this has been phenomenal. I've loved the whole idea, and Tom Taylor is just another one of those books he's been killing it on. We're going to talk about another one of those books later.
Oh yeah. Dark Horse. This was crazy news. Dark Horse announced this week that they're teaming up with podcaster Kevin Smith. That's all he is, for a new imprint at the publisher. The first 2 comics from this line are set to launch fall 2022 and are Masquerade, a vigilante crime-fighting 8-issue series, and Quick Stops, an anthology series based in the world of his View Askew films. Awesome. No word yet on any creative partners, but there's going to be more news to come. This was huge. Kevin Smith going back to comics and doing a lot of them, right?
Yeah. So real quick, I wrote the article for Comic Book Yeti about this, and my description of Kevin was he is best known for the movies Clerks, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and the number 37. You get the reference?
No.
So in Clerks, everybody, this is going to get a little graphic, but in Clerks, there's a sequence where Dante and his girlfriend are talking about how many sexual partners they had. And he's talking about that, and then she says a number, and then he finds out that she's basically not being truthful about it because she doesn't mention the guys that she went down on.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, if I add that, it's 30, or I only sucked 37 dicks.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So that's been something and if you look at all of his jerseys, he has the number 37 on the back. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's hilarious.
But yeah,
I'm super pumped for this.
I am down. I've bought all the View Askew comics over the years. I have all the Blunt Man Chronic comics. I will support Kevin Smith till the day I die. He's been an inspiration for me personally. I love his work. Even as fucked up as Tusk was, I had fun with it. And I'm interested to see more on this, because Quick Stops is going to be about the View Askew universe, but then Masquerade seems to be nothing involved with this stuff. So I'm interested to see how he jumps back into the superhero realm as well.
That about his own creator-owned superhero, I think is interesting. I mean, we saw him do Hit Girl. He did okay with Hit Girl, but that's pretty established,
Yeah, and I'll say, his Daredevil run was one of the more important books of my comic book, beginning of my comic book reading.
Mm-hmm.
I read that and was just blown away, and then to realize it was this guy who was making these movies about dick and fart jokes that I like so much.
His Green Arrow series is great.
Green Arrow's amazing. I love that Green Arrow series.
I really like his Green Hornet run with the Alex Ross covers.
Yeah. I even bought his Bionic Man series he did.
Oh, wow. I didn't go that far.
Well, even the Green Hornet one, I believe, was of the same vein because they were just he wrote scripts and then they just turned those scripts into comics.
Yeah. Anyways, so I'm super pumped for that. Can't wait. I'm glad he's got a thing going on with them. All right, let's talk about what we read this week. A lot of comics.
Strap in, everybody.
I want to talk about like the most like tweet I ever had was, talking about Gail Simone. And she retweeted me or liked me, whatever. I have talked about Gail Simone on the podcast before. Is she my favorite writer? No. Do I like what she did with Wrong Earth, Trapped on Team Planet #1? Yes. There's two artists on this, Walter Giovanni and Rob Lean, because, like the story says, you're trapped on Team Planet. This is a new interpretation of, well, not interpretation. You're taking established writers with these characters that Tom Parer and Jamal Eagle have created and getting a new perspective on them.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is from, Gail Simone's writing the issue, and she even has this guy who's like the narrator, because there's something about her that she does is always the internal narration with every character. Like, there's more of the characters talking to themselves than talking to each other. That's just how she writes. And it even gets funny, like, it's this person they've hired to do that, and like he gets like upset halfway through the book. It's like a lot of fourth wall breaking, and like leaves and comes back. But the premise of the story is, the Dark Knight version of Dragonfly Man, is stuck on Earth Alpha, which is the happy-go-lucky Earth. His Stinger, his Robin, his sidekick doesn't know that it's him still posing as the lighthearted version, Dragonfly. And but the villain's old sidekick that's working with them now knows, and they don't want to reveal it to Stinger. The mirror gets repaired that was helping them travel through dimensions, and they get put in an Archie dimension, pretty much. That's called Teen Planet. And the Dark Knight Dragonfly Man pretty much is a huge fan of this and has been for like since his childhood. So he knows about everything in the town, and it's hilarious. And by the end of the story, like, he doesn't want to leave, and that's kind of how it wraps up. Is like, we're not leaving; we have to stay here. It was a fantastic. I love this series. I love Ahoy Comics, and it was probably one of my favorite things from Gail Simone. I will say, I thought it was fantastic. Fantastic job by her. Did you read it?
I gotta catch up on Wrong Earth.
Okay, yeah. Even if you're not caught up, it still kind of helps you along the way of like, this is just a wacky story.
Yeah, for reasons that people could probably get through context, I'm trying to read through all of Wrong Earth in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yep.
That's all I'll say on that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Out of context, he's trying to read it all for some other reason. Yeah, so along the same vein as Wrong Earth, Trapped on Teen Planet, I had War for Earth 3 this week. So yeah. Owlman, baby. Owlman had 2 books this week. He's in my Suicide Squad book because that's part 2, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Robbie Thompson, Dennis Hopeless, and Steve Pugh, Dexter Soy on the art. These guys killed it. This is what you want for a crime syndicate Earth. Like, dude, he's like Ultraman sitting on a throne and then just like wipes out half the people trying to worship him. The Conjurings of Power Ring, like, he does a dump truck with like a fist on top of it. Just the obnoxiousness of this book and how awesome these characters are. Amanda Waller invades Earth 3 she's taking the crime syndicate for her Suicide Squad. The best thing is Power Girl's like got Owlman tied up and is hooking up with him and is like looking for Ultraman to get pissed. Like, she's doing it to piss off Ultraman and like make him jealous. It's so like he's pissed at out, like that's what like Waller walks into this Earth in the middle of. The end of it, like, Waller faces off with them and she brings Black Hand. So like by the end of the book, she has Ultraman and Power Ring, and Talon replaces Owlman. Like, she has Talon kind of dressed up like Owlman, because what she does is she has Talon grab Owlman and break his back like Bane does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing. Did you read it? You liked it?
I read both these issues.
So you read Suicide Squad?
I did.
Yeah. I thought that was a great issue too.
Did Etrigan 666 happen in Suicide Squad?
I don't know when that the Brainiac Etrigan.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that happening. I think this just happened this book, because that was not part of like any of the Suicide Squad books.
I gotta figure out when that happened, because that's all you had to tell me to sell me on a book was that Brainiac was going to take over Etrigan.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I love that. Everything about the War on Earth 3 issue, I really, really dug. I thought it was well done, well paced. I loved what happened. The Suicide Squad issue I enjoyed, but not as much as the War on Earth 3 issue.
And that was pretty much, I agree with you. Yep.
It had who's the not Deadpool character?
Rick Flag?
No.
Deadshot?
No. The fourth wall breaking idiot.
Oh, Ambush Bug.
Yeah. Okay, too much Ambush Bug. Like, it's not funny when Deadpool does it. It's not funny when your character does it. I know I'm alone in that, but I don't care. I'll go out on a limb. And it did this thing where, like, every page was a then and now, and it kept skipping.
Yeah.
And it didn't work the way they wanted it to. But I did really enjoy Peacemaker and Ambush Bug getting into the Fortress of Solitude on Earth 3.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That was a cool interaction. Also, the fact that they kept the original Owlman alive and possessed him with the body, or with the like soul or ghost of one of the Suicide Squad members. So we're still going to get Owlman. An Owlman that Waller has under control, which is pretty sick. Or not Waller, but
and we learned who the dumbest Batman is.
Yeah. Yes, we did. Yep. Man, this I'm so excited for the next 2 issues. I can't believe it's only a 4-issue arc, but we'll see.
Thanks, DC. I got to buy an issue of the Flash now.
Yeah, thanks. Rogue Sun #1, Ryan Perot and Abel on the art. This ties into that crossover with Radiant Black, so I picked this issue up. Great first issue. Rogue Sun is a hero of New Orleans. Nice cover. And dies. He leaves the mantle to his original son, who's not part of the new family. The son's a jerk in high school, naturally, and he tries to like stop this established villain and gets like toyed with. And then his dad shows up in like a vision, I think, and is like, "What the hell are you doing?" I thought it was a good first issue, though.
Yeah, it was a good first issue, even though to me it felt like a little bit of a bait and switch. Because did you read Supermassive?
No, I haven't read that yet.
Okay, so the dad shows up in Supermassive, and that was the reason I bought it. I was like, I really like this character. You know, he's kind of a dick, and he's got kind of that Batman vibe going on, but with superpowers. So I picked this up thinking I'm getting that, and then in page 2, he's dead.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
That aside, I did really enjoy it, though. I like the idea of like his son taking over, and it's a strange son at that, because we get the backstory that he left his mother, the dad left the mother, and then had a second family and all that.
Yep.
So good issue. I'll continue on with it personally.
Crossover 12, Donny Cates, Danny Cates, and Jeff Shaw. So did they reuse a cover? I was looking back and forth. It's the same cover, just a different color.
I think it's the issue 1 cover.
It is it is the issue 1 cover.
Because I remember the issue 1 cover, because the little comic the guy's reading
is exploding.
There was like a super secret variant of that's worth a shitload of money, by the way.
Oh, really? Of course.
And all they did was change the little comic on the cover of the
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
This is a great issue because Negan is having a conversation with Robert Kirkman, and you actually feel like
written by Robert Kirkman.
Yeah, written by Robert Kirkman. But you actually feel like Negan's talking to Robert Kirkman. And then he beats him over, like, true to the Negan-esque of it. Like, Robert Kirkman tries to convince him not to kill him, and he still beats his head in with a baseball bat. And he beats his head in because of what he made him do to Glenn, which is understandable.
And I'm a cruel human being, but it made me laugh when he hit Kirkman in the head, and his word balloon was, "I got both eyes to pop out this time."
Yeah, that was messed up. And then Donny Cates is doing the Deus Ex Machina thing of saving the main character. He breaks out L, knowing that Negan and the priest are working together. And so Donnie brings in L and the priest's son through the portal to fight them, and she has her sword, and and the I can't remember the kid's main name, that priest son's name, but he's got the Rick Grimes 3000 lightsaber.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a final battle, I think, coming.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. I hope, I don't know, because the whole like comic book creator killer thing is going to be done with presumably after this arc.
Yeah,
but I like the idea of bringing on the creator to basically explain how they die.
Yep.
Like having
Yeah.
Kirkman come on and do that was really cool. So
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that issue.
Yeah, I really did too. I thought the Kirkman thing was a nice touch. Monkey Prince #2, Jean Lun Yang and Chang on the art. Did you read the second one?
I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the Monkey Prince and Zoo, who is the like pig god janitor guy, get away from Batman and Robin, and we find out that Penguin has like turned himself into this giant gold, like anime looking style bird that's sucking people's ki, like their life force. Very, very creepy. And we find out Monkey Prince doesn't want the powers anymore, so he's trying to like escape from the circlet, but the circlet has like grabbed hold of him, which gives him his powers. And we find out Damien is a freshman in his high school and is investigating him, so he's trying to like evade all of that, which is kind of cool. So that's kind of where we leave off, is like he's stuck, with this bracelet on, or this circlet, and Damien, and he's trying to escape Damien because he knows like he's gonna start, being an annoyance to him. Overall, it's a great second issue. I still like this character a lot.
As do I. I enjoyed a lot of what's going on here.
Yeah,
and I'll be interested to see, because I believe this said 1 of 4 or 2 of 4.
Yep.
So even though it's a 12-issue series, it looks like we're going to get different arcs throughout it, which is really cool.
Mhm.
So
yeah,
I really like it too.
Night of the Ghoul #5, Scott Snyder, Francisco Francavilla. The dad and kid escape the hospital, and the mom shows up and gets his kid away, because they're both trapped in like the hospital where this cult of the flies is hanging out. The father is going to he breaks the old man out who like directed the original movie, has dealt with the ghoul his early life, and is like going to take him to where they shot the movie, and where the fire started, like where the missing part of the film is, because I think that's going to have to do with something to kill the ghoul with, because like they were filming the movie, and that's where they were trying to. There's something happens where they're like trying to get the in the past, where they're trying to get the ghoul out of his father, and then like it flashes the people behind them like filming a movie. So he might have just been trying to tell that movie, and then the place caught fire. So maybe there's a reason like he must have the actual thing that'll kill the ghoul hidden there somewhere, I'm hoping. But there's a pretty cool sequence where he like goes in the basement to get his son out, and all of the like the Lord of the Flies people, or the Cult of the Flies, are down there, and he's like breathing in a hallucinogen that's like making him see crazy shit, like their fly heads and stuff, and like trippy stuff. It's really cool. Yeah. It was a really cool sequence, but I'm loving this book. I think Scott Snyder is doing a great job with the horror aspect. 1-Star Squadron, Mark Russell and Lieber on the art. This took like a weird twist that, Red Tornado is the one who has to do layoffs at the Heroes for You company, and Power Girl is the one he has to fire too. So he goes to he says that he goes to try to fire everyone, then he decides he's going to stand up to the board of directors. Meanwhile, Power Girl finds out she was going to be fired and is like all pissed off about it, because she thought she was going to be taking over. But they find, like, when he goes to explain himself to the piece of shit board of directors, they're like, "Oh, we got bought out by this like seashell company that's going to take us over. We don't need you to fire anybody now." And then when he goes back to the Heroes for You headquarters, someone has blown it up, and that being probably Power Girl, because she's pissed off. So this book's a lot of fun still.
Yeah, really good. Mm-hmm. Great art. I love the Power Girl listening to Maxwell Lord's book.
Yeah, his self-help books,
Yeah.
the Maxwell Lord self-help. I thought that was a pretty funny touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. And then the last book I want to talk about, Justice League Incarnate #5, Williamson Culver, setting up, surprise, surprise, the death of the Justice League. The Flash and Dr. Multiverse do this weird comic book science shit to sync up their powers to free everybody who's been controlled by the Great Darkness. Some they comic book science the shit of that. Like Speed Force plus multiverse power counteracts darkness multiverse infection. Hey, sure, why not?
We need to move the plot along, people.
Yeah, we should move it along, people. Nothing to see here. Darkseid chases the bad guy, the Great Darkness, and he like teases him and tricks him into this giant portal to another world where the darkness is. And he's like, I'm Darkseid, I could fuck you up. And so he goes into the portal after him. And the heroes that are left back there are like, we need to blow this fucking portal up before they come back, because we don't want either of these guys coming back. And the New Gods are left without a ruler. So like, meanwhile, all this is happening, Apocalypse doesn't have Darkseid anymore, so Orion is like planning on is going to lead everybody on Apocalypse and just run probably New Genesis. So you have that like happening. Before they destroy the portal, they're like, "Hey, shit, Barry Allen is in there somewhere. Let's go try to find him." So part of the Justice League Incarnate tries to go in after where Barry's trapped, and he's pretty much trapped in like base Earth Prime, like they called it Flash World 1.1 or 0.1 or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's like Flash Earth 1 or something weird.
Yeah, so now he has his own Earth, whatever. It's a fake world where he's seemingly happy and sees these heroes, doesn't know who they are, and Pariah shows up that's keeping him there. And Pariah is stronger than we think. He's probably the big bad behind everything. But they're pretty much like, we can't mess with him. We got to get back because the Thunderer is using his multiversal lightning to blow up Earth 7, which is destroying the portal. So they all escape. They're heading back to Earth 0, but we find out they're heading back to Earth 0, which is the Prime Earth, I think we would say, to meet up with the Justice League and say, we need your help. But it's probably going to get the Justice League killed. The darkness has taken hold of Darkseid, so now he's coming back with like all the darkness villains as his powers or something like that, or leading a whole group of old villains.
Yeah. It did say on the last page, continued adventures and death of Justice League.
Yeah. Yeah.
How stoked did you get on that like second to last page when it's Darkseid and I can see like Black Hand behind him and all these dark villains?
Yeah.
I was like, Mike is loving this right now.
I saw Black Hand. That's all I needed to see was Black Hand, man. And I was like, hell yeah. Dude, seeing Black Hand fight in the Suicide Squad or the Earth 3 book this week was so sick. Like,
oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, there's a fight scene between Black Hand and Power Ring. Like, is this some like fan fiction I haven't heard of? Yeah, it's been a great week for comics. So that's all I had this week. What did you have, Chris?
Okay. I'm gonna go through a few real quick. Nocterra #8. Still really loving this series. It's basically the classic story of there's a even worse than the bad guy, so the bad guys got to team up with the good guys. But really good series. Everybody should check it out. Newburn #4. I love this series. It's a bunch of one-shot stories that all kind of interconnect in the idea of who Newburn is and how he goes about his business. But in this issue, the police union calls upon him to help solve a murder. And it's a murder of a police officer. And there's a whole thing in there about how like the police union is like its own crime family and all this stuff. But we end up finding out that one of the crime boss's grandsons was the one that killed him. So Newburn has to cover it up in order to not get killed by the crime family, while at the same time find a way out of working with the police union. Because if he works with the police union, the crime families aren't going to be so happy about it. Did you not read Batman 121?
Did I read Batman 121? I don't think so. I must
So
have.
it
I
just
must have had it in my
concludes
file.
the whole story they got here with another double cross, and I don't know. This story arc started off so promising, and I think it ended kind of on a flat note.
Mm-hmm.
I think Williamson got a little too high in his own supply a little bit here
Yeah.
because it's like the fourth double turn in the series,
Mm-hmm.
but it does give us a prelude into one. The Batman annual is apparently going to be about Clown Killer and Ghostmaker joining
Yeah.
the Justice or the not Justice League, the Batman Incorporated.
Okay.
And then it gives us a prelude into the Shadow Wars, which I wasn't going to check out, but there's just a splash page of Deathstroke
Mm-hmm.
with a bunch of computers behind them, and it says "Get ready for war." And I just got really excited, and like, I guess I got to check this out.
You're like, hell yeah, I'm gonna read it. Yeah.
Oh, we talked about that. Dark Knights of Steel #5. You didn't read that?
No, I do. I had so many books. Yeah.
So we got back into the Prime timeline,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot here. So Batman goes to talk to Superman, and that's when when Bruce tries to tell Kal-El that who his father is and that whole lineage. And
Okay.
Superman kind of freaks out and says, like, no, like, I am the next one in line, blah, blah, blah. And
Mm-hmm.
ends up stabbing Bruce in the heart with a kryptonite shard. It
Oh.
looks like he might live, but we don't know yet.
Okay.
And then at the same time, Kara comes back,
Mm-hmm.
and she tells, not Bruce, she tells Clark that she didn't do it, that she's not the responsible for what happened. They're making it up, all this stuff. And that's when also Wonder Woman comes over and she gives the same story.
Mm-hmm.
Really good issue. Love this series. We talked about that. World of Krypton #4. Basically, General Zod is trying to a coup on Krypton, and he
Mm-hmm.
wants to get Jor-El with him. And Jor-El says, no, we can fix this if we talk to the people and give them the science and all this shit. And gives this whole speech about how if we do these things, we can save Krypton. And everybody's kind of rah-rah, we'll do it. And then in the background is General Zod still planning his coup, just without Jor-El.
Oh, of course.
Because I don't know if you know this General Zod guy kind of seems like a bad dude.
Yeah, he's a bad dude.
Holy fuck, I read a lot of comics. Oh, Batman Killing Time #1.
Yeah, I didn't read this.
I went against my better judgment and read a Tom King Batman. But I'll say I really enjoyed it. It's kind of almost based in the animated series world, because
Okay.
it's definitely like an alternate universe. It's not based in like main continuity.
Uh-huh.
And the characters you use are Catwoman, Penguin, Croc, and Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all like in their animated series style, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's all about a heist that Penguin and Riddler plan out, and they get Croc to be the muscle, and then Riddler goes down into the main vault and steals something. And it's done in this time lapse where we get to see as things happen and where everybody is as it's happening. It was pretty interesting. I'm going to keep reading it, even though I always run into this trap with Tom King, but it's the last time, I swear.
Been burned so many times I couldn't even do it. Not even for Batman.
Captain America, Iron Man #4. This is probably my favorite Cap thing in a long time.
Awesome.
We got, not only does it brings in something from Civil War, which was right after Civil War, Iron Man tried to start this 50 states heroes initiative, which is to have one hero for every state and recruit all these new heroes. It was Marvel's way of trying to make new IP. And there was one team that kind of stuck from it, and we find out that they've kind of double crossed and they've been working with Hydra. But Tony doesn't know that until the issue is over. And meanwhile, Cap is trying to fight against this basically a master mold kind of enemy that's taking control of a shield helicarrier. Really good stuff.
Cool.
What if Miles Morales became Captain America #1? So in this universe, Miles' uncle steals the super soldier serum. So Steve existed, but he never comes back.
Okay.
The government decides to create another super soldier serum, and Miles' uncle steals it. Now, anyone that knows Miles' origin, his dad steals the spider, and that's how Miles becomes Spider-Man in regular continuity. And Miles grabs it and accidentally inhales it and becomes Captain America. What's cool here is, he fights Gray Skull instead of Red Skull. We still have the twist that Prowler is his uncle, and he fights against him. We find out that Norman Osborn he spent all of his money to create these robots to fight wars for him, and they're possessed by the Venom symbiotes, which is really cool too. And then at the end of the book, we get, after all the reveals you expect from Miles' book, we get a look into the multiverse with all the different versions of Miles, which got me excited because I'm like, if we get a Miles Avengers, I'm all about it.
That'd be sick.
And then we've talked about it a lot in this issue or in this episode, but the Recount trade, read that. Yep. Absolutely loved it. Everybody go pick it up.
Awesome.
I think that's everything, Mike. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
You can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter. You can find the show at Fortress Comics _ on Twitter. Also at FortressComicNews.com. Remember, everybody, to give us the 5-star review on the podcatcher of your choice. Like, subscribe, share, comment down below on the video version. And also, if you want to support the show further, we have the affiliate links in the show notes. Also, patreon.com/FortressComics. Thank you all so much for listening this week, and I will see you all here next week. For real this time. It'll just be me next week.